Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to the open book. This is your host, Lakeisha, and I hope everyone is having a fabulous, terrific Tuesday. Okay. I'm not going to be on here that long, but I wanted to share an update on the P. Diddy trial. Now, many of you may know that um, P. Diddy is now on trial for a number of racketeering charges, sex trafficking charges, and things of that sort. And yesterday on Cinco de Mayo, can y'all believe that? The trial began with jury selection. Okay. This is unfortunately not televised. It is a federal case, so only select people are able to go into the courtroom. Okay. And so I wanted to do a review of a video from Law in Court where the representative, the reporter, was able to get access into the courtroom and give us more information about the jury selection. Now, I did post this yesterday, y'all. The prosecution team, okay, for this case is consisted of five women. Five women. No men, okay? Excuse me. And I do believe that that was intentional. Okay. Now, one of the prosecutors, she prosecutor, her last name is Comey. Okay. She was responsible for prosecuting Martha Stewart. She was on that team, and Ghislaine Maxwell from the Jeffrey Epstein case. Okay. So she does not play around. So let's go ahead. We're going to get into our review. Make sure you hit the like button. Let everyone know we are live.
We learned about potential celebrities who might be mentioned at this trial, a theft of a wand at the Harry Potter store, Combs apparently admitting he's nervous, and whether or not we can actually get an impartial jury to hear this monumental case.
Now, y'all, I don't know what kind of artists we have in this courtroom, but let me tell you, I've seen a couple of sketches, and while they have him looking different in all of the sketches, some of them they have him with gray hair. Some of them he doesn't have gray hair. I think I saw one where he had on glasses. Hold on one second, y'all. And I said, well, which Diddy is it? Okay. How do y'all have him looking so different in all of these pictures? But y'all, the majority of them did have him with gray hair. And I said, wait a minute. This man that got gray that fast, and it hasn't even been that long. Okay. I just couldn't believe that part.
This is a full recap of the day and what you might have missed in court. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. Hey everybody, this is another law and crime legal alert. So lawsuits allege that antacid use has been linked to increases in stomach cancer and gastric cancer. So if you were diagnosed with stomach cancer or gastric cancer after using an antacid, you may qualify for compensation. One of our legal sponsors is partnering with the Driscoll Law Firm. This is a national firm helping those injured to ensure their claims are thoroughly presented. Visit antacidclaims.com/sidebar. Scan the QR code on screen to answer less than 10 questions and check your eligibility to file a claim. It's official. We're here. The start of United States versus Sean P. Diddy Combs. What began with his arrest in September of 2024, an indictment on federal sex crimes charges, now brings us to May 5th, 2025, the start of his trial, the start of jury selection, to be more precise. Can't believe we're here. I've said it before. I've said it again. The idea of this going to trial in under a year from his arrest and indictment at the federal level, very, very rare. But he has been speeding his way towards trial, wants his day in court, and now we are here. So this case has changed a lot, too, since September, by the way. Over the last several months, his indictment has been amended. We're now at his third superseding indictment, where he's facing 5 counts. Count 1, racketeering conspiracy. So that's that Combs and others allegedly created a criminal enterprise using the resources and personnel of his multifaceted business empire, where he allegedly abused, threatened, and coerced women to fulfill his sexual desires, including engaging in prolonged or extensive or elaborate sexual performances, sometimes known as freak-offs, that included sex workers. They're the underlying
And y'all, I'm going to pause there for a second. I don't believe, in my opinion, and let me also say this live is for educational entertainment purposes only and is covered under the Fair Use Act. Information shared is alleged in our opinions as we react to various topics and people. Now, y'all, I really feel that P. Diddy did not think that he would ever get into trouble for a lot of the things he was doing. I feel that at some point in his life, he felt that he was untouchable. When he settled that case with Cassie, I think he felt that was it. Okay, but it actually released Pandora's box, okay, in that open. And so now I'm pretty sure he is a little nervous about where this is about to go. Like, seriously.
predicate acts that need to be proved, at least two need to be proved in order to get the racketeering charge, these underlying crimes that make up the larger pattern of criminal racketeering activity. So,
want to build your own software? Don't let the skills gap hold you back.
Whether that be kidnapping, forced labor, arson, sex trafficking. And speaking of which, counts 2 and 4 are sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion of victims 1 and 2, namely that Combs intentionally harbored, transported, enticed these alleged victims to cause them to engage in commercial sex acts using force, fraud, or coercion. Commercial sex acts meaning something of value was exchanged or promised. Counts 3 and 5, transportation to engage in prostitution, namely that Combs allegedly transported victims and commercial sex workers for purposes of sex work, for purposes of prostitution. And now we need a panel of 12 jurors with potentially 6 alternates to sit and hear this case in Manhattan federal court. And it's being reported that 150 potential jurors are being brought in. So what did day 1 of jury selection look like in Sean Combs' criminal case? Well, since there are no
okay, so Latay said, man, they're about to hand him the business. Okay, and he would have been untouchable, but now the higher ups don't want the smoke, so he's taking the heat, just my opinion. And you know what, Latay? Okay, I agree with that. Now, many of y'all may have heard, right, Mrs. X, crimes against humanity. Hi, Darice, welcome. Thank you for joining. Y'all may have heard that Bishop T.D. Jakes just transferred his church and released turned it over, I should say, basically to his daughter, Sarah, okay, and her husband, to Ray Roberts. Also, they said allegedly his other church was Cheryl Brady and her husband, Joby Brady, maybe, I don't know the official name for it, but coming from up under the Potter's House name and changing the name of their church, allegedly. I done heard that through the grapevine on another channel. People that go there, you know, they have some little inside information. So I'm going to say allegedly. And it made me think of when Diddy, before he went in, remember he started transferring things out of his name into his mom's names, into his son's names, okay? Because a lot of these celebrities, y'all know they're going to play some of those freak off tapes, okay? They don't know what is going to come out and if they are a part of it. So I felt, in my opinion, that Bishop Jakes was, hey, he was at some of these freak offs. And I think he's trying to get ahead of some stuff. And just in case he won't lose that money, okay, it's over in someone else's name. Now, that's just my own opinion. I don't know. I could be wrong. But it was the timing of all of this is happening. He also has some other lawsuits out there, but he is connected to Diddy too. A lot of celebrities were at these freak offs and connected to him, so they don't know what is about to come out. Everybody is quiet. If y'all notice, they're all quiet now. Hi, Darice. Did I speak, sis? Good morning. Latay said he was taught this from someone else, but they are more powerful than him. Yes, and then y'all, where's Clive Davis? Okay, where's Clive Davis? Oh, but he's quiet now. Where is he at? Kay said he's a demon. Girl. Hey, Tony. Hey, sis. Good morning, Treasure Life. Hi, Miss Lysander. Thank y'all for joining. They shouldn't be putting stuff in their names because people quick to sue. Okay? Yes. But if it's not in their name, they can't. I think they feel that they can't go after it, whatever is in that person's name, because it's in the other person's name, not in their names. Like Diddy, with all of these lawsuits and people suing him, where are they going to get the money from? He doesn't own a lot of the stuff anymore. He's moved everything to his mom's name, okay, to his sons. Hi, Dreamy Girl. Welcome, sis. Thank you for joining. Hey, Karen. Good morning.
Cameras allowed in federal court. We have with us our very own eyes and ears about what happened in that courtroom today. Law and Crimes reporter Elizabeth Milner was there. Elizabeth, so good to see you. Thanks for coming on.
Love the way.
Jesse.
So I'm going to start with the question I always ask you. How did Diddy look? What was he wearing?
Not
and
inside
who was
eyes.
with him?
It's not televised.
Well, today was a lot different, obviously, because it's day one of jury selection, or to some, they consider it day one of the trial. So Diddy looked completely different from his pretrial hearing in that he wasn't wearing the standard issue khaki tan jumpsuit provided by MDC. Instead, he looked a lot different. And as we know from the last judge's order that was made last week, Diddy is allowed to wear normal attire, but he looked a little similar to what I kind of presumed to be a choir boy. So he came in with a blue pullover sweater. He had a white collared shirt. He had navy slacks. Couldn't get a look at his shoes, but of course we know from the judge's order that he is not allowed to have laces on those shoes. So it's unclear if he had just shoes with no laces, wearing loafers. Couldn't see from where I was inside the gallery because I was even lucky.
Yes, I agree with that, Karen. I can't imagine they would get many impartial jurors. Who has not heard about this? Okay, how, unless they get up there trying to lie, okay, I don't think they're going to get a whole lot of impartial jurors either. The whole world has heard about this, you know, it probably has been following this. And I was in the bushes on another channel this morning. I've never seen before. I just so happened it was an algorithm. And they were saying that the media has skewed this so much. Like some people are not going to think about a lot of the facts, but the things that have been put out there, the other cases, the things that we've heard about him from a lot of the other channels on social media, things of that sort. So that is a concern as well. So that's a great point that you brought up, Karen. I believe there are other celebrities and political figures that are involved. Definitely Mrs. X, a lot of them. They are quiet. You don't hear anyone coming to stand up and defend P. Diddy. I haven't seen any. Okay, I haven't seen any of those celebrities say, y'all need to free Diddy. Where are all the free Diddy hashtags and people on social media, these celebrities on social media? They know what's going on. Some of them were there at these parties. They know, and they're trying to not bring attention. Even Jay-Z, Beyonce, where all of his tight celebrity friends at? Hey, Becca, welcome. Okay, it's very telling. And y'all, when I tell you, I would love to see a real picture. I just cannot believe this man grayed that fast. I'm in shock. I really am. It's hard to not say guilty without even the trial, right? Okay, they know better than to speak for you. Girl, where Clive Davis at? Okay, where Ray J?
To get inside that courtroom today, because let me tell you, Jesse, it is inundated with so much press from honestly around the world. This is not just a nationwide case. There are international outlets out here as well too, trying to get inside that courtroom, trying to get a peek at Diddy. And I thankfully was one of the lucky few to get inside, because I think they were only allowing about 10 or 15 people from the press, because the rest had to be filled with a lot of.
Connect your customers with your business like never before. Create, manage.
prospective jurors. So the side where normally the defense's side sits or normally the family sits, instead, that entire side was empty, at least for the first half of court today, mainly because he had to put in all those jurors. And I know we're going to talk about that more in a second. But as far as Diddy goes today, his demeanor seemed upbeat at first, but then there was a moment, I think it was a little bit before the lunch break, where Diddy kept having to go, take some restroom breaks in between the prospective jurors' questions and that type of sort. And then he uttered something that I found to be pretty astounding given how confident and upbeat he appeared. He said, "Your Honor, I'm a little nervous," which is something that finally you kind of see the mask slip off a little bit, where it's like Diddy is finally admitting the weight is kind of coming on to him as far as having to go to trial for these federal charges that he's facing. And of course, that
y'all, and that is something I felt that once we get to this point, okay, that he was going to get more and more nervous, because see, this is real now. It's in front of him now. And I don't know if y'all know about the situation when he had first started rising to power. And I know his former security guard kind of touched on this as well. There was a party that they were responsible for, and during that party, they had oversold, I guess, the tickets, and there was so many people there, and there was like a stampede, and some people ended up getting unalived. And they said that during that time, Diddy was so nervous and so scared that he was going to lose his money, okay, because of what had happened from various lawsuits, till they had to watch him. He was under, the suicide watch during that time. Now, this is another situation where he's under pressure. Okay, so I'm pretty sure they have to keep a careful eye out for him. Okay, Becca said everybody in the bush is watching. Okay, right. Good morning, Felicia. Stress will make you great fast. Okay, Felicia, he must be under a lot of stress, because, girl, I did not think that man would have grade that fast. Golly, just for grade isn't allowed in jail. Y'all silly. Hey, Southern Belle, welcome. Thank you for joining. Yeah. And so I'm pretty sure that's why he doesn't have shoelaces. Now, all of a sudden, he has to go to the restroom so many times. But for him to say he's nervous, and y'all, the human side of me also wonders what happened in this man's childhood. Okay, like I really think over the course of time, something bad. And they said his mom used to do some craziness. Okay, say she was pretty much teaching him the ropes on some stuff. But for it to get out of control like that, and money adds to that. See, when you start getting money and power, it builds upon what's already there. So if you already got an X problem, y'all know, then hey, add money to that, add some power, some influence, and it doubles. So I don't know what transpired back in that time. If anything, he also needs some therapy. Okay, if you go to jail, he needs some therapy too. Because it was something, even with R. Kelly. Well, R. Kelly, at least I think his family members, his brother and them, at least shared some of what took place in his life when he was younger, which was sad. It doesn't excuse it, but it's sad. And those things turn you into that which you went under. Okay, then you become the monster. Okay, doing those things to other people. Some people don't. Some people have been sexually abused and they don't turn into that. But some do turn into that. And so I've always wondered for it to get to this degree. And those parties, y'all, they said were outrageous. Having people as ex-slaves, and sometimes they said allegedly some of these parties, there was some younger people that looked like children at some of these parties. Good morning, Yolanda. Welcome. Kay said, I feel like if he goes out, it'll be on his terms. Bricks keep falling on him. He'll take himself out from pride alone. I've always wondered that, Kay. Hey, I've always wondered that. Hi, Pammy Pooh. Welcome. I heard his mom is his auntie. Oh, really? I haven't heard that. Oh, wow. Karen said, I think they have to watch him not only for himself or what others may do to him. Silence might be golden for many. Yes, exactly. They have to watch him for that too. His auntie mom, now you saying auntie mom, and him have a weirdo relationship. They do. He was kissing her one day on one video. It was very awkward, y'all. And you, I'm telling you, Something has gone on in this man's life back when he was younger. Okay, I don't know what and if it'll ever come out, but for him to start turning, people don't just turn into this overnight. Okay, hey Teron, welcome. Thank you for joining. Rocking with Cowboy is in the building. Thank you so much for joining.
That being 5 federal charges that he's facing, which could carry, if he is sentenced or if he is convicted on these charges, could carry what, decades in prison. So it's a lot of weight on his shoulders. And we've kind of presumed
Hey,
that as well,
Shelly
too,
Shells,
because
hey, sis.
obviously, since he's been incarcerated, his hair has been great. He did come in today. His face wasn't completely shaven, so his goatee was a little white as well, too. But when he had first come into the courtroom, he did what he usually does. He hugged all of his attorneys. He looked outside or he looked into the gallery to see who was there as far as family goes. Unfortunately, no immediate family was inside the courtroom today. But again, we have 2 more months to go of trial, so it's likely that they'll be here for opening statements. But that's, unclear as far as what family members will be there at what times, that type of sort. But as far as today inside the courtroom, it was really that associate or member of his entourage who, again, was wearing that free puff hat, that free puff sweatshirt. But instead, he had to flip it inside out, as we probably presumed, because those prospective jurors are going to be coming into that same courtroom where we're sitting as the press, where his associates are sitting. So,
did y'all hear that? Y'all, this case could take 2 more months. This is our whole summer, okay? This will take our whole summer, okay, to get through. But I'm thinking that a lot of his family, like she just stated, I'm thinking that they won't be there until opening statements, because like right now it's preliminary. Like they're getting the prosecution team together, they're choosing jurors. Now, those of you who are just coming in, his prosecution team is consisted of nothing but women, 5 women, okay, no men. They've been coined the Queen team, and one of the prosecutors was on the team responsible for convicting Martha Stewart. Y'all remember Martha? I could not believe they sent Martha Stewart to jail. Martha Stewart and Ghislaine Maxwell from the Jeffrey Epstein case. Okay. So they said, does not play. And she looks tough. Her father also served as, oh my gosh. What did he serve? But he was in something with the U.S. government. Was it FBI? Let me see here. FBI director. He was the FBI director. Okay. So that's her dad. Okay. As long as she didn't call him Daddy Lonely. Let's say stop. Okay. But I did hear allegedly she was pimping him as a child. And it wouldn't put, you know what? I wouldn't put it past her, and it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me. Something has taken place. They were pimping all, including the dust bunnies in that house. Demons of lust and greed were the ones worshipped. Yes. I heard that it was very demonic and crazy from people that have been to those parties. Very demonic. And they did it after certain people. They would tell people allegedly, hey, if you want to leave now, you can, or this is about to happen. So if you want to stay, Shelly said his dad was worse. Wow.
he had to turn that shirt inside out. And what I did also spot was Justin Combs's brother inside the courtroom too. Now, with Justin Combs's brother, we have to remember that he is not Diddy's son. However, it's somebody who has been very who Diddy is obviously very familiar with, that being his son's other brother from a different relationship, because it's a tangled family web as far as everything goes with the family and everything like that. But while Justin Combs wasn't inside the courtroom, his brother was. And I think Diddy kind of looked at both of those two associates and then Justin Combs' brother kind of as support, kind of as like a nice presence to be inside the courtroom, because I do think he relies a lot on the support of his family and of his loved ones to be inside that courtroom. But again, we still have 2 more months of trial, so I assume his mother.
Allegedly, that's not even his real son. Okay, hi Pam, welcome. Thank you for joining. Okay, what Shelly? What's the other guy that was unalive? What that they said that, and he looks like that man. He was a part of the ones. Oh, let me see. What was? Let me see. It's gonna come to me when I look. His mom is Misa Hilton Brim. That's Justin's mother. But because I said when I saw a picture of and he was a rapper that she allegedly fooled around with. Do you know who I'm talking about, Shelly? Let me see. I'm looking, y'all, because that's gonna bother me. Because I know I've seen pictures of them. Because I was like, oh my gosh, he does look like that man. And he was a rapper that got unalived. I'll find it. I'm gonna go back to the and I'm gonna look for it. But y'all gonna be in shock because I think I showed a picture. No, he has multiple sons. Not Albie Shure's son. I do know about Albie Shure's son. I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna find it. Cause you know Albie Shure's son, that's Kim Porter's son. But Misa, the one that he had with Misa, well, it's alleged that it's someone else's son. And when you see their pictures together by each other, they look more alike than he does P. Diddy. And I was like, is there some truth to that? You know what I'm saying? But I'm going to find it. I'm going to look.
Other his daughter, maybe possibly his daughters, but at least
Yeah,
bare
that's
minimum his sons will
Thank
be
you,
inside that
Angela.
courtroom. If
I
they'll be
hear.
there every day, that's a wait and see, but I'm sure for opening statements they definitely will be.
And I got to say, I'm not surprised. If he meant it, he's nervous. Look, it's not only decades. He could potentially face life in prison if he's convicted of the most serious charge. And look, his defense team was pushing forward to get this in front of a jury as soon as possible. It seems they feel confident in getting an acquittal here or putting the prosecution's feet to the fire. I want to move on to a little bit about what happened today. You and I have spoken earlier today about who was there for him. Attorneys there for him. Mark Garagos now there is in a more of a consultant role. So you have the attorneys, you have the prosecutors in court. I want to talk about the jury. Okay, so it's my understanding that prospective jurors came in last week. They filled out these questionnaires. And based on their responses, that number is going to be ultimately whittled down to the jurors who were selected in this case.
Pam.
So first, before we even get into the ins and outs of what jurors said in court, can you just give us a brief snapshot of what were some of the questions that these jurors were asked in their questionnaires, because that became a big focus of their today, what their responses were. So, and I know, and by the way, just to let everybody know, a little while ago, the court actually released preliminary instructions in this case and some of those questions too, and maybe we'll put it up. But Elizabeth, if you give us a general brief idea about what were some of the questions they were asked.
Well, some of the questions included just people and places, whether or not there was a whole like laundry list of celebrities and whether or not these prospective jurors were familiar with them. You know, they range from Kanye West to Michael B. Jordan to Young Miami to Dallas Austin, who's a music producer, to Harv Pierre, who actually was named as one of the defendants in one of Diddy's civil suits. And so prospective jurors were asked who they knew. And most of them were very honest about their answering. They were like, you know what, I don't know them personally, but I do recognize, for example, Michael B. Jordan from movies. Obviously, Sinners is very popular right now. So, of course, that is probably going to be the name most were able to answer yes or no to. But I was kind of surprised at how many people didn't know of these like laundry lists of popular celebrities, especially when you have names like Kanye West on there, especially when you have names like, you know, Michael B. Jordan, that type of sort. But there were some prospective jurors who did not or who were not familiar with these certain people. Now, as far as places goes, I don't know the full extent of what was asked as far as places goes, but there was this one juror who did kind of talk about a hotel, the Essex House Hotel, that was on the list of places that prospective jurors were asked about. And this juror in particular, he just said, you know, he had worked at this particular hotel sometime last year and all of that sort. Now, as far as some of the other questions that were asked, you know, they were asked simple questions as far as, do you know
Thank
any
you,
additional
Shirley.
information about this case? Do you have any training in addictive treatment, domestic violence, sexual abuse? Do you have any views
Probably
about
about 6 or
prosecutors or
7
law
months, Stephanie.
enforcement? Have you been involved in legal issues such as a lawsuit, such as a criminal case? Have you been a victim of a
Okay,
crime?
Karen.
Do you have feelings about law enforcement, hip hop artists,
Hi,
witnesses
Karen.
testifying under immunity, witnesses also testifying under a pseudonym? And is there any reason that you wouldn't be able to serve as a prospective juror? Now, some of these questions, especially when it
No,
comes to
not
like legal
him.
issues,
Sure.
criminal issues, surprisingly, a lot of people were very forthcoming, whether it be that they were in a DUI accident, that being that they were the victim of a DUI accident. One woman had talked about how she stole a wand from Harry Potter World. A
Yeah,
lot of these jurors have been very transparent as far as being honest about some of the legal issues that they've dealt with in their past.
I definitely want to get into all that for sure. And by the way, just before I get into a little bit more of the celebrity aspect, so I understand the judge came in, brought the jurors in, read them preliminary instructions, and just so everybody knows what we're dealing with, I'm reading from this document that was released. Don't do any research on this case.
Beach.
Don't discuss your questions and answers or the case with anyone or until further instructed by the court. But listen to the schedule. Potential jurors will be called back for further questioning and jury selection from Monday, May 5th through Friday, May 9th. Your availability during that week will be required. The trial will commence on Monday, May 12th, 2025. That's again assuming they can get a jury by that time. This trial is expected to last about 8 weeks. And generally, trial will be held 5 days per week, Monday through Friday. During the first week of trial, Monday, May 12th, 2025, through Friday, May 16th, 2025, trial will be held from 9:30 a.m. until 5 p.m. After the first week, trial will be held from 9:30 a.m. until 3 p.m. Trial will not be held on Friday, May 23rd, Monday, May 26th, Thursday, June 19th, Friday, July 4th. These are all the holidays. But going back to the celebrities for a second.
Wait, hold on.
At
Let's
Texas
see her.
Virtual Academy at Hallsville, we know your child is one of a kind, and their school
I found it very
At a
interesting.
second and freeze it. Okay.
Will be held from 9.
Okay, so this will be our pending our pending schedule. So they're picking the jury. Okay, trial will come back on May 12th, and it's expected to last 2 months, y'all. This is our summer. Okay, generally, trial will be held 5 days per week. Okay, Monday through Friday. Now, during the first week of trial, from Monday, May 12th through Friday, May 16th, it will be held from 9 a.m. to 5. Y'all, this is a whole work day that these people will have to be at trial. After the first week, trial will be held from 9:30 to 3. Trial will not be held on Friday, May 23rd, or that Monday, because that's Memorial Day, so they get, I guess, a 4-day weekend. And then Thursday, June 19th. Okay, Juneteenth. Okay, they're observing it. Or Friday, July 4th. We know that's a holiday. Okay, so yeah, trial will not be held on those holidays. But y'all, 2 months, 2 months. I want y'all to think about that this will go on. Now, we're going to see other things probably in play as well as these things go on. This trial is going on. Everybody going to be quiet, ducking and dodging, pretending like they don't know him. Okay, but pay attention out there because it might be some people starting to snitch. Okay, wanting to get some deals. Okay, I'm telling y'all. Now, let me show y'all this. This is alleged. Let me pull this up. Now, allegedly, okay, y'all ain't heard this from me. Oh my gosh. But allegedly, they stated that Misa was fooling around with Big Meech. And Justin is allegedly his son. Okay. Now, he looks, I ain't gonna lie, Justin looks more like Big Meech than P. Diddy to me. Okay. They need to take a paternity test, or else P. Diddy knows that that's not his real son and hasn't said anything because y'all was a little shady as to how Big Meech passed away. Little suspect. Okay. So, hey, but I just want to show y'all the resemblance is so similar. And when I saw this, when this came out that this was his alleged father, real father, y'all, he looks like his mom and this man. I'm weak. That's gonna need to be I'm weak. That man is gonna need to be sedated. I'd hate to be the welcoming committee. Okay. Hi, Brittany. Welcome. Thank you for joining. You too, Treasure Life. Thank you for joining. Open Book Law and Crime is a great way to screen this live as well. Most of the time, it's in real time. Yes. Okay. I love Law and Crime. Southern Belle said Diddy is going down. No woman on his team will impress a jury when he was stupid enough to video his crime, and I have no sympathy for him. The DV video alone would make me find him guilty. You know what, Southern Belle, that video alone, okay, probably has already got a lot of people saying, if anything, he needs to go to jail for that. Okay. Karen said the next thing I would worry about as a juror would be, repercussions, especially if he is found guilty, even though that jury list is supposed to be secret. That's a good point, Karen. Very good point. Brittany said, yes, Diddy is going down. These women aren't lying. Right. Okay. Tyron, twins. Okay. Okay. Shelly said, he looks a little meech too. Yeah. Hi, Coffee No Cream. Welcome. Yes, I just wanted to show y'all that was going to bother me till I was able to find that. Okay, let's continue.
9:30 a.m. until 5 p.m. After the first week, trial will be held from 9:30 a.m. until 3 p.m. Trial will not be held on Friday, May 23rd, Monday, May 26th, Thursday, June 19th, Friday, July 4th. These are all the holidays. But going back to the celebrities for a second, I found it very interesting that the jurors were asked, is there anybody on this list that you know? Michael B. Jordan, Kid Cudi, who you and I both know, became a component in Cassie Ventura's lawsuit. We believe Cassie's going to be a part of this case, probably victim one. Wow. The allegation is that she had a romantic relationship with him, that Sean Combs may have blown up his car at one point. I didn't know what the connection of Mike Myers, the actor, I didn't know what the connection Michael B. Jordan might be. Kanye West, as far as I know, Elizabeth, Kanye West had been talking to Sean Combs in jail, maybe called him up. I'm surprised by some of these names. And also, if you have any more context about what their connection could be to the discussion about the case, but is it my understanding that Kim Porter, his ex, Sean Combs' ex, the mother of his children, some of his children, and who died several years ago, she may play a role in this case as well?
Yeah, and it's interesting that you bring up. Now, Michael Myers, not 100% sure as far as what his kind of connection is and why his name was even on that list. But as far as Michael B. Jordan, I thought about it for a second, and it kind of makes sense possibly why Michael B. Jordan. And that's that they kind of share a common ex, him, Sean Combs, and Michael B. Jordan. That's Lori Harvey. Now, Lori Harvey dated Sean Combs for a brief period a few years ago. And then as we know, or maybe as people know from Instagram.
Oh my goodness, y'all. This is Steve Harvey's stepdaughter. Okay. And remember, they both dated her. Okay. Now, she dated Diddy for a short period of time, but something happened and sis got him out of that relationship. She got him out of there. But not only did she date Diddy and Michael B. Jordan, but she dated one of Diddy's sons. Okay. This girl been making her rounds. Okay. It's a shame. She been making her rounds. But that's interesting that name came up. And then when they showed Lori, I was like, oh, did she have an experience? Oh my gosh. Did she have an experience with Diddy? Uh-oh. Hey, Jackie, welcome. Thank you for joining. Wow.
Michael B. Jordan and Lori Harvey went on to have like a years-long relationship after the fact. Now, that's as far as I know is probably what the connection would be as to why Michael B. Jordan specifically was on that list. But there were other famous names on that list as well, too. You had Aubrey O'Day, you had Don Richard, you had, I go back to like faces like, or names like Har Pierre, who used to be president of Bad Boy Records. And as far as Kim Porter specifically, now she was brought up when one of these prospective jurors was kind of talking about her role
Spread
as
it
a
like
chief
peanut
marketing
butter.
officer for a local or for a big book publishing company. And I
She
bring
dated the
that up
son
specifically
first,
because
Kay.
apparently there is going to be a memoir that's going to be coming out later this fall. And that memoir is going to be Albie Shore's memoir.
Uh-oh.
And he is a very important kind of central figure a little bit in Diddy's life. And I say that because he.
Now, y'all, pray over this man in that memoir. Okay? Because y'all know this man, he was about to be taken out of here too. But he knows a lot of secrets, y'all. And also, Kim Porter left behind, she was working on a book. Now, the book that came out, y'all, they said that just was not, her family said all of that was, some of that stuff was made up and that was not from their mom, okay? But she has left things. Who's to say what that is, what was stated? Then here you go have Albie Shore, his memoir coming out, okay? They're not going to want a lot of this stuff to come out. And remember when Diddy first went to jail, there was a phone call right there, between him and his sons. And he was using key words, y'all. He was using certain, like, he was trying, not keywords, but he was trying to be inconspicuous with it and use, like, I guess some words they would know what it meant. But hey, okay, pray over this man in that documentary because he knows some stuff. That she was beautiful, right? She was so beautiful. We all know it's alleged that he was kind of behind that, of her passing away. Okay, Miss Lasanda said, I think he's going to walk free. I don't know about that, Miss Lasanda. I don't see that happening at all. But you could be right. We'll see. Yeah, Albie sure knows everything. Kim Porter was probably telling this man all kind of stuff. He not crazy. Yeah, that's crazy. Good morning, Felicia. Yes, ma'am. They were talking in code. They were talking in code. Yes.
He is the biological father of Quincy Brown, who Diddy adopted. Diddy, along with Kim Porter, because Kim Porter is Quincy Brown's biological mother. And that's why I say there's such a tangle web when it comes to the Combs / Albie Shore family / Justin Combs' family as well, too. And so that was kind of the context as.
Connect your customers with your business like never before. Create, manage.
Far as why Kim Porter and even Albie Shore were brought up, and that a prospective juror did work at a local or at a publishing company. I think it was Simon and Schuster, and she was talking about how she had viewed a press release about this memoir that's again going to be coming out called "Do You Believe Me?" And it's pretty interesting too because the ties of that, in a sense, are also kind of related to the documentaries. Now, this one I believe it's the Peacock documentary as opposed to the HBO documentary, and that Albie Shore has made some allegations that have, come from Diddy's team. They have come back and they have, said these allegations aren't true when it comes to allegations that somehow, some way Diddy was involved in Kim Porter's death. Now, as far as whether or not this stuff is going to be admitted into trial, that's unclear right now. But It was interesting kind of the government's point of the case because they said that they don't really believe that Kim Porter and Albie Shore will really be mentioned in the trial, whereas the defense, they seem pretty adamant that both of those names will be mentioned in the trial. So again, we still have 2 months. We don't know what all the government has up their sleeves, but it'll be interesting to see kind of how the defense comes and counters that and how all this information that is brought in some of these documentaries and these podcasts, because it seems that some of the figures that were in these documentaries, according to the government, will also be testifying as witnesses in this case. So it seems like you're kind of just having a little cross pattern above all boards when it comes to what's going on.
Yes, Kay. And if any witness needs to be brought, it needs to be him. But would he even testify? You know what I'm saying? Like that, y'all, from those videos that we've seen from when he first got hands on him. Where's Usher? Usher out here feeding women cherries and strawberries. But you brought Justin Bieber to Diddy. That boy has never been the same since. We see his life. If you look at I saw a video on Facebook and they showed a transition of when he was young and when he first came out and how his face changed, how he got older and You could tell he's been through. I wish he would tell his story. I'll be sure finally we'll get his day in court. Okay. Hi, Susan. The nose knows. Right. She knows. She knows. Okay. Y'all heard that song? Okay. When it was saying rest in peace to all those different people that they feel that Beyonce and them, a lot of these celebrities know what really happened to some of those celebrities that passed away. Um, yes. So, ooh, this is going to be quite interesting, y'all. Let's see. Mrs. X said, wasn't Usher living with P. Diddy during some? Yes, he was. Mm-hmm. Probably not. He likely wants to put it behind him, raise his family, and try to find peace. Yes, but I think also that would give him some peace. He's holding that in. I don't. Now he's giving some little clues here and there in some of his songs, in his music. But that boy has gone through. He's a man now. Has gone through some things. He really has. He really has. That's so sad.
On and how some of these people in Diddy's lives who have appeared on these documentaries will appear inside that courtroom as well too.
So let's go back to the idea of the jurors having a legal history, whether it's criminal history, whether it's filing lawsuits. You got to tell me what you learned. And please, just to reiterate one more time for our audience, because it struck me, you had a potential juror who stole a wand.
She was probably one of my favorite prospective jurors, I'm not going to lie, that I saw inside that courtroom. And she was interesting. She was a 30-year-old woman. She had talked about how she could be fair and impartial when it comes to this case. She said as far as the list of people and places, she only knew about 2 celebrities on that list. But she was interesting because she said she had a concert or a conference with unrefundable tickets, but then said she could make it work if she were to be selected as part of this juror. But again, she said she could be fair and impartial. She understands that she can't talk about this case with her sister-in-law, who, by the way, she had said in open court that her sister-in-law is a therapist. She had previous training as a teacher to deal with sexual harassment, something that we saw a lot from these jurors talking about, whether or not their job training actually required them to deal with some levels of sexual harassment, that being a training, that being a course, some type of thing. And then she said she had a friend who was a police officer,
Hi,
but
Jay.
as
Good
far as her
morning.
stealing the wand from Harry Potter world, that was obviously brought up in open court, and she was
Okay.
very honest about it. Honestly, when the judge.
Hold on one second. Jay is funny to me. I'm glad I woke up to a different topic today. Hey, Lola. Hey, sis. I hope you feel better. I think some is his ex. There were the music camps or whatever. Yes, when he went to the Diddy camp. And y'all, when Usher was asked later on, would he ever send his children to the Diddy camp? He said no. I think it was hell no. Okay. So obviously he didn't have a good experience when he was there. Usher isn't as vocal with his experience. However, I'm sure he wants everything to come out. Okay, Felicia, he hoping that everything comes out. He just does not want to be a part of it. I feel so bad for Justin Bieber. Innocence taken from him. Yes, I agree, Southern Belle. Yes. Yes, y'all. If y'all want to help me reach my goal today, you can send a super chat for any amount and it will go towards my goal. High inspiration and positivity talk is in the building. Thank you so much, Miss Ruby. I appreciate that. Now, let me stop sharing this right quick. And I wanted to share that call between Diddy and his sons.
Do not entertain none of this nonsense and nothing over the phone. Need you to reach out to the producer, let these motherfuckers know there's a release date for that new Netflix movie.
Alright, Pop. It's just crazy right now.
Everybody out there quiet as a.
These leaked phone calls are causing a stir on social media. Well, some folks.
Okay. I thought they were going to play that one straight through. I'll have to find the one where it's just straight through. But yes, he said don't entertain them. Then one of the sons, Justin, wanted to go to a club to make some money. He said, no, don't do that. He was trying to tell them don't go and bring no attention to themselves. And really, they haven't. I think after that phone call, I haven't really seen them out in public trying to get attention to their family, things like that. They've been on the low. They've been laying low. Kay said that's why I don't like Usher either. He gives Snake. Okay. I can't see again. So hello. Girl, you need your glasses. Okay. Was that an earring in his ear? Yes. A voice of an angel, very talented, but there's a layer of creep on his skin to me. Okay. And I think it also turned him too. I don't think he was like that when he first went there. I think when he went to that camp, he had an experience. He did. But I think Justin Bieber, his experience had changed him in a different way. Usher masked it well. Justin cannot mask it. You can see it all over him. That's the scary part. Okay, let me go back.
Asked her, "What did you steal?" And she said, "A wand." There was an audible chuckle inside that courtroom. But pretty much, she wasn't like convicted of a crime or anything like that. She had to pay a fine. She was prohibited actually from going to Harry Potter World and Universal Studios in Florida for about a year. So by this time, it looks like she can actually go back there again. But she made some another interesting comment whenever she was being questioned by the judge, and that she had said that and again, I have to kind of commend some of these jurors for being just very honest and inside that courtroom today. But, when asked about social media posts and if she made posts about the case, she didn't say she made a post about the case in particular, but instead she said she liked to post about the case. Now, she said it was kind of some comedian making a joke about the baby oil, and she was adamant inside that courtroom today that she found it pretty funny, which is, I couldn't see Diddy's face whenever the baby oil or anything like that was mentioned, but he sat there kind of taking it all in. From what I could see from him, he kind of had no reaction from what I saw, but she was pretty.
He said she found it quite funny, lady.
Be adamant that the post that she saw had to do with baby oil and had to do with Diddy, and she just liked it because, as she says, it was funny. And right, the judge said that she will proceed as a potential juror in this case.
Yeah, and I saw that there was another juror. And by the way, maybe she stole the Elder Wand because it might be excusable, right? It's the most powerful wand in the Harry Potter world. Everybody should know that. But anyway, side note. But I know there was another juror that sued the Port Authority for an injury. That hurt their back on an escalator. They ended up settling that. There's also a question about insurance fraud. You had another juror who says that their uncle was charged with raping someone else, another family member. So it's interesting to hear about their past legal connections. But talk to me now about what did the jurors say about their exposure to the case? So other than the fact they might know celebrities or places, talk to me about what they've seen about the case, whether that was
This is what Ivy League universities you can get into with a 3.6 GPA.
9 documentaries, whether or not that was evidence that has been released so far in this case. What did we learn about what the jurors' exposure to the Sean Diddy Combs criminal case has been so far?
Yeah, it seemed like it really kind of varied. Some people have seen the documentary, that either being on HBO, The Fall of Diddy, or if they've seen the one on Peacock as well, too. Not very much mentioned about BBC or anything like that. But as far as just other mentions of what they have learned about the case probably beforehand was just water cooler talk, at the office. One woman said she actually works at HBO, and she was saying that, people have chatted about the case. Now, she says her job in particular didn't have anything to do with the documentary or anything like that. She was just pretty much a photo producer, so she had no kind of ties into the documentary or anything like that. But it seems like a lot of people were kind of familiar with the case, whether it be, them seeing the CNN video, which obviously we'll see in trial, the raw version or whatever they were able to piece together, the government was, and showing that in real time, or real speed, I should say. Some people, again, were familiar with the documentary. Others were familiar just by his arrest. Now, whether or not they knew he had been detained this entire time, that part was a little bit unclear. But as far as the exposure to the case, a lot of people, and I say a lot of people, actually, it kind of just varied, really. Like some people were in the know about it, others weren't so much. But for the most part, there weren't too many who said that they couldn't be fair.
But Jay, I would want to. Yeah, being on the jury interests me. I was able to serve on one jury loved it. So I think I would love it. I would. I'm interested by that type of thing. Now, and probably wouldn't be, impartial though, to be honest. I don't think anyone, like Karen said earlier, it's going to be hard. Okay. Everybody has heard about this Diddy trial. They've probably seen the video of him and Cassie. They've heard on some level. It's been everywhere. The documentaries, all of that. So somebody has heard something. Unless you've been under a rock somewhere, you've heard about something with Diddy within the past year.
And impartial just because they, for example, saw the CNN video. One prospective juror said that she had empathy, but she said that she could also be able to kind of listen to the facts, listen to the evidence, and then some even saying that, maybe it doesn't show the entire picture and all of that sort. And so, I was surprised at how many people were familiar with this case, given that they might have to become prospective jurors now.
And by the way, real quick, Elizabeth, certain jurors, and I'm going to ask you about this, is they were asked about whether or not they were sexually assaulted or harassed, either them or somebody close to them. And talk to me about what you learned of their responses. And also, did they have to provide that information in a separate room for privacy reasons? Because obviously talking about sensitive material like this in front of an entire courtroom of people could be difficult. What safeguards were put in place by the court to ask those questions? And from what you heard, what were some of the responses regarding their experience with sexual assault?
Now, let me say this right quick, y'all. I don't know who said it earlier in the chat, but my concern too, and I'm trying to think if I should say this, but my concern would be also that the safety of those jurors, because if you have certain people in that courtroom that are related, that have the freedom to go in and out, y'all know how technology is nowadays. Okay. Now, of course, you probably can't have phone and things like that in there. But once they find the jurors and those people come into the courtroom, we'll have put eyes on those people. And for security and safety reasons, that does make me nervous. And I forgot who said that earlier. But it made me think about that, y'all. That is something, they're giving details about themselves. One lady talking about she worked at HBO. Kay said, "Obi, my sister-in-law is the same. She really was almost on one. Was so grumpy she didn't get selected. I'd be nervous myself." Right, Kay. Okay, that's what I just said. And especially in this case, and considering, okay, previous situations where people have mysteriously ended up unalive. I don't put anything past these people. So I would probably, Jay, to answer your question, also, I'll probably say no to this one because they got too much power, influence, and things like that. Okay. My nosy behind in my interests and stuff like this would not override that. Because you got to consider that, y'all. They are there putting eyes on these people. Okay, who's going to be selected? What information are they given? Becca said the only problem is too many people know about Diddy. This is not going to be easy for the jury. Exactly. Karen said it will be very interesting, but I couldn't be impartial before I even got in the door, right? But as I would be worried about the repercussions even more, I wouldn't do it. Right. That's what I'm saying, Karen. It just made me think about that. Like, seriously. Yeah, this is witnessing some aliens level stuff. It's incriminating. Okay. Because you have to give too many details. Okay. I'm like, Exactly. OB, the jurors, we all need to be praying for them. Hello. Okay. We need, look, We need to pray for Albie Shore and the protection of his documentary. We need to pray for these jurors who are selected because these people are giving out information. Yeah, pass for me. Hi, Miss Foxy. Welcome. Thank you for joining. I'm telling you, they have to let me wear a mask. She said, let me wear a mask or movie makeup. Okay, that's what I'm saying, Felicia. Hey, if y'all select me, I'm coming in here with some sunglasses, a hat, or something. Okay, I got to protect my identity. and you know what? We laughing, but in a case like this, y'all, to be honest, they need to put those jurors behind a mat. You know those little y'all know those little glasses that they have, and they have them sit behind it, and all you see is the shadow of the people back there, and have them looking at it on little mini TVs, the whole courtroom, but you can't see them. That's what they need. Or those protect those witnesses. You know, when you go to the jailhouse, you have to identify the witnesses or whoever, not the witnesses, the person who did it. Do they do that in real life? Like I always see that on TV. But yeah, they need that kind of glass. Okay. Put up one of them little boots and they go up in there. They can see everything in the courtroom, but you can't see in. That's what they need. I'm telling you. Because they need to be protected for something like this. Yeah, we on to something.
Assault or harassment of any kind.
So as far as some of those really personal questions, I was honestly surprised at how many were forthcoming about talking about it in open court. You know, the press is inside that courtroom. A bunch of attorneys are inside that courtroom, either for the government or for the defense. You know, there are some family members in there. So I was surprised at how many people were forthcoming about talking about either previous sexual abuse. Some talked about molestation.
Y'all see that? I hadn't even listened to that part yet. Y'all see what she on to it too. She said she was surprised by how much detail they were giving with these people in the courtroom, listening for them. Yes, y'all, if you would like to be a blessing, Dreamy Girl, thank you, sis. She just dropped various ways that you could be a blessing for today's live. If you would like to be a sponsor, you can send a super chat of any amount, Cash App, coffee. Also, if you would like to become an open book member, one of our members, we do special giveaways. We do lives and things like that. You can also sign up to become a member. Karen said, you hear it all the time. The jurors get harassed after trials, even though they are supposed to be anonymous. They can't protect them forever. Right. I bet they go to a safety house. Their phone calls are strongly monitored. It sounds like hell. Yes, I would not want to stay that long. Thank you, Shelly Shells. Thank you, Lolo. I agree.
Station. Others talked about being fondled by somebody who is older than them when they were teenagers. So these very sensitive topics. But then there was one juror who, you know, did take it up at a sidebar. And kind of how that works is the judge will ask the question, you know, have you had any prior experience with sexual abuse? And do you feel comfortable talking about this, or will you prefer to do it?
Shout out to Jay for gifting 5 memberships. Thank you, Jay. I appreciate that. Now, I can't see who they went to. If one of the mods can put the names, because I'm on StreamYard, but shout out to you. Thank you, Jay. God bless you. Hi, Denise. Good morning. Welcome. Thank you for joining.
In a more private manner. So instead of taking them even outside of the courtroom or even into the judge's chambers or anything like that, what they all did, well, not all of them, it's too many lawyers for all of them to kind of rush up there. But what they did was 2 lawyers from each side. So it's going to be 2 people from the defense, 2 people from the government, the court reporter, the judge. And I think the judge's clerk was in that kind of huddle as well, too. And they just kind of spoke honestly and candidly while there's kind of this static going on in the courtroom. But the thing is that Diddy himself can kind of see the live transcript of what is being talked about from this prospective juror. So although we as the press can't hear what they are talking about or what these answers are, Diddy can kind of see a live transcription of.
Oh, wow. So he can see a live transcription. Okay. So these are the winners, or the ones that got blessed. Okay. We got Miss Foxy. Shout out to Miss Foxy Pammy Pooh, Nina, Tony. Okay, who is the other one? I think it was 5. Oh, and PM. Okay. Thank you, sis. Okay, shout out to all of you. Tony is here. She said, thank you, Jay. Yes, thank you so much, Jay. And thank the Lord. I know all of those people. Okay. Okay, go ahead. Hold on, y'all, 1 second. Oh my gosh, thank the Lord. I know the people. Sometimes you like, oh Lord, some random people up in your members. Southern Belle said R. Kelly tried to talk to my daughter in the mall, surrounded by his goonies, and my face told my disgust. He said, ma'am, I'm R. Kelly. And my response was, I don't care if you're Jesus Christ. Wait a minute. She said, I don't care if you're Jesus Christ. Southern Belle. You said you're not playing with your baby. I know that's right. Kay said Diddy allegedly had Kim's phone tap. Wouldn't put it past his team to tap the people's phone. Hello? Kay. Okay. I'm telling you. I don't put nothing past those people. I really don't. Congrats to all the receivers of memberships. Yes, thank y'all so much. Yeah, this is just the beginning. It's just the beginning. Hi, Lorraine, welcome. If they don't allow cameras in the courtroom of the Diddy trial, I believe it's a hoax to distract us from what's really going on in the world. Well, they said for any federal case, they don't. Any federal. His case is federal.
Of it from inside, or not from inside, but from at the defense table where there's kind of a big computer set up and all the live transcriptions kind of going through that. So he can see the answers. So that kind of took care of the logistical issue, because at first they were talking about kind of
speaking of that, a sidebar. Okay, speaking of what Lorraine talking about, maybe they're trying to deport people that are U.S. citizens about this country. Also, if you have student loans that are in default or that you have not paid off, make sure you keep in contact with your loan servicer, because they're about to start garnishing wages. Okay, make sure you on the up with all of that, because I got to make a phone call to okay, we don't want to get to that level where your wages are garnished. So be on top of that. They're trying to dismantle the whole Department of Education and gives the states control. So yes, okay, there's some truth to what Lorraine is saying. Be aware of what's taking place in the world. While these next 8 weeks, we are following this trial as well. Okay, thank you for that reminder, Lorraine. Okay. Cameras on a lot of federal cases, but this rule needs to be changed. Exactly, Jay. I agree. Congratulations, Miss Foxy. You were just gifted a membership from Jay.
Feeling the answers, then kind of having it separate, and it would be too much, that it would take up too much time. But it seems like the method at which they're going is working out for both sides. You know, they go up, it doesn't take maybe more than about 2 minutes or so. They come back down. The judge will either keep the juror or dismiss the juror. And in this particular case, this juror who went over to the sidebar, she was dismissed for cause. And so that's kind of how they were able to kind of work around this entire situation. And it seems to be going pretty smoothly from both ends. I don't see too many complaints from either side on how this process is really going.
Let me add a little bit of legal context to that. So first of all, I would imagine that Combs has a right to see the transcript, right? Sixth Amendment right, public trial, due process right. So he has an ability to be there during the jury selection process in his own criminal case. It is interesting when we talk about this jury selection process, because we're not saying jurors were selected today to officially be on the trial. They've moved, or certain jurors have moved through the first stage of the process. Now, they can be stricken for cause. So a specific reason why they cannot serve on this jury, a legitimate reason. Now, that's different from later on, when both sides, generally speaking, the prosecution and the defense, will have the option to put forward preemptory challenges. So both sides are typically granted a certain number of preemptory challenges where they can strike a potential juror without even providing a reason. And that's very advantageous for both the prosecution and the defense. But Elizabeth, moving on from today so far, based on Judge Subramanian, who's the first guard to determine whether or not a juror can be stricken for cause, generally speaking, what did you make of his decision-making today? I mean, did he excuse a lot of jurors? Did he excuse maybe more jurors that were favored by the defense over the prosecution? Because I'll tell you, I know there was one juror, for example, who had apparently been watching the HBO documentary on Diddy. The prosecution was concerned about this juror, and the defense wasn't concerned, but the judge ended up excluding that juror nonetheless. So from what you could see on day one, were there a lot of jurors excused? Did it seem that more of the defense's preferences for jurors were excused, maybe more of the prosecution's? And where are we right now? I mean, do you believe that we're actually going to get a jury seated in a week?
I kind of hold my breath a little bit on whether or not we'll actually seat an entire jury this week, but we'll see. You never know what can happen. I'm still in shock that we're even about to go on trial next week. So, don't take my word for it necessarily. But as far as the judge kind of dismissing jury.
Shout out to Tony for the super sticker. Thank you so much, sis, for that and for being a sponsor for today's live. And sis, you were also gifted a membership today from Jay. So shout out to you as well for that. Becca said, Diddy going to be an old man when he gets out. If he gets out, okay. Becca, he's already turned. I just cannot believe it. So that must mean that he was already great, or he been really stressing out, okay, over these past months.
Jurors or keeping jurors. I was surprised at the amount of jurors that he kind of held on to today. To your point, Jesse, just kind of about this one juror, who had seen the documentary, or even one juror I found interesting. She was the one with the ocular migraine. She says it happens only about a few times a year. She says she needs like about 20, 30 minutes. And I was kind of surprised that the judge had kept her on because, she was also the one to kind of talk about how a dentist who she had worked under was previously inappropriate with her when she was a teenager and all of that sort. And yet the judge decided to keep her on. And there was one moment that Diddy, I could tell, wasn't too fond of this particular juror. I shouldn't say too fond, but you could tell that he didn't seem like he had necessarily wanted her as a part of the juror. And that was that HBO.
Oh, thank y'all. Y'all know me by now. I was reading Shelly's comment. See, y'all didn't let me get to 5 minutes like the other day. Because, sometimes when I go to the other screen, I mute StreamYard so that I'm not distracting the video. I was saying, like Shelly said, I want to see it all just like Casey Anthony and that football player. And, O.J. Simpson. Okay, we saw all of that. So how come we can't see this? We too invested. Okay, we want to be able to see this too. Kay said, guessing he'll spend a lot of time in solitary. He's going to throw a big temper tantrum. Yes, I believe that too. And they're going to have to watch him. I do not see him just being in jail, y'all, without right now. See, since he's been in there, he's had some hope. Like, oh, I get a trial. Maybe I get off. Okay. Well, if you convicted and you got to spend years and years and years and you are P. Diddy, you ain't used to none of that. That's going to stress that man. I don't know. They're going to have to watch him all the time. Okay, Jay said he don't have those private hairstylists to cover the gray hairs anymore. It stressed him out. Okay, that man will look old. Brittany said, right, open book, he isn't going to get out and he won't be free. There's a lot of evidence against him. You have the Cassie video and other women coming forward. Right, exactly. Thank y'all so much. Y'all knew I was muted. P. Diddy will have his trial and the outcome is unknown, but are the mothers of the victims going on trial? The mothers of the victims, are they going on trial? Girl, OJ, we were both trying to think of his name. What do you mean, Denise? Like the mothers, you want them to be a witness in the trial? We will all be tuned into the news every night. Okay. Yeah, I wish they would. He's used to the party. To the party, y'all just missing his magic potion. Okay, girl.
Photo producer. And so she had talked about, she also kind of talked about, her previous history when it came to molestation in her family. It was by a cousin and it was done to her and her sister. She says she can feel empathy, but also be fair and impartial. But she did particularly point out that she called the CNN video disturbing and unsettling to watch. But she said that she could listen to all of the facts. And she was also the one who kind of had talked about, the water cooler talk at the office, mainly about Diddy in his case, that type of sort. But the defense did bring up that HBO documentary, but the government said that she shouldn't be excused. And so it seems like for now, she'll be staying on as a prospective juror. But as far as just other jurors that were released, they were released either because they had time constraints. One juror, he just started a job like last week. So him being tied to a 2-month trial, the judge was like, okay, we're going to dismiss you and you're good to go. The other juror that was brought in for that sequestered question, but in the form of a sidebar in open court, that type of thing, she was excused for cause. Then the last juror I was in before I had to come out and do the hit with you, she was kind of talking about how she had watched the documentary, but she kind of had a lot of long pauses when the judge would ask her follow-up questions.
Now, Denise, girl, you had me wondering. I'm sorry, girl. That got me tickled. Baby, she in the wrong. Denise in the wrong trial. Okay. I'm sorry. She said, when you said the mothers of the victims, I was like, wait, you want them on trial or as witnesses? She said, I'm thinking about R. Kelly. Girl, he already been convicted. He not getting out either, probably. Not you drunk right now. Wait a second. She said it's 5:00 somewhere. Oh my goodness. I'm done. Okay. They say Diddy came in the courtroom dancing to Pastor Kamasi. Oh my, he came in there dancing Pastor Kamasi. Oh my God, I am tickled.
Just about whether or not she could be fair and impartial when particularly or possibly you could see one of the people who did, either analysis or did speak to the documentary, that they could possibly be the ones to testify. And when the judge asked her, can you put away the documentary and actually listen to the facts of the case and listen to this witness testimony in the trial, she kind of had these long pauses and that sort. And so the government was just like, Your Honor, I'm a little worried about this. The defense, they kind of agreed. And so she was another one who was going to be dismissed for cause and that type of sort. But as far as the amount of dismissals over the ones that are being kept, it looks like the ones that are being kept is kind of outnumbering that. So what will that mean for tomorrow?
You've probably heard about Boxable's flagship product,
when possibly some of them either have to return, and then that new batch is coming in as well too, because they're trying to guesstimate around a little more than 50 a day, and so that's a lot of prospective jurors in the potential pool. But really quickly, Jesse, I kind of want to talk about just the demographics of these prospective jurors that I saw inside the courtroom. I was honestly surprised at how diverse this group was. I didn't see a lot of younger faces, or maybe they possibly were, but I couldn't tell. But it didn't seem like there was any type of issue getting a diverse juror or prospective jurors or anything like that. Again, they come from all different walks of life. They are all different ages, all different races. I will say I didn't see as many white men prospective jurors today, but that could be completely different for tomorrow. But I was pretty surprised at how diverse everyone is, because, when I go into that courtroom, I'm just seeing a bunch of lawyers. I'm seeing Diddy. I'm seeing other members of the press. But really, you could tell that these were the people of New York. These were the people who are going to ultimately have to decide and judge whether or not Diddy is guilty of the charges that he faces or whether he's not. So we'll see what all happens with that. But again, a very, very diverse pool of jurors there, or prospective jurors.
And let me tell you, this is not an easy case to sit on. Put aside the fact that you're dealing with the celebrity factor and a lot of eyeballs are on it, and maybe a lot of pressure for this verdict, and 8 weeks, the hardship this might have. this is a complicated legal case. So when I heard a potential juror to say today, I don't really understand why it's the United States versus Sean Combs, as opposed to maybe a private individual going after Sean Combs. That's a little concerning. Now, we cover legal cases all the time. It might seem second place to us, but even reading the indictment, when I go through the specifics of racketeering or the specifics of sex trafficking, it's very complicated. That might work to the benefit of the defense. Maybe it works to the benefit of the prosecution. We shall see. But I'm very curious to see if you can have jurors who will actually fully, and this is not a slight on any potential jurors. It's just, this is a complicated case. And I wonder if they're going to be able to fully grasp and recognize and understand what the elements are of these crimes and what they're supposed to do. It's not an easy case, which brings me to my final question before I let you go, Elizabeth. From the best you could see, did the jurors, the prospective jurors, did they look nervous? Did they seem nervous? Did they seem concerned about being there, being a part of such a monumental case?
Not really, which is kind of surprising in the sense because when the jurors were kind of brought in and they were all brought in together, some were in the gallery, some were actually in the jury box, Diddy and his defense team are facing all of them, which to me, I would feel a little intimidated by. But to me, a lot of these jurors just looked at Diddy as if he was just any other person who possibly, or who is going to be facing these types of criminal charges. Now, whether or not inside their minds, they're like, oh my God, that's Diddy. That's unclear. Obviously, I can't get inside all of these prospective jurors' minds or anything like that. But there was no noticeable reaction from what I saw. Now, I was kind of in the back on the right-hand side of the courtroom and that sort. But I feel like the jurors were more kind of conflicted just about having to spend what could be 2 months on this jury. Yep. I think they were more kind of pressed about that than actually who the defendant was. So from what I could tell, everyone seemed up to the task, or if they weren't up to the task, they were very vocal about that.
Y'all.
But as far
I don't
as
know
just
who
kind
I'm
of,
laughing at more. I didn't tune these people out, either my husband or Denise. Wait, y'all, Denise said, I paid 3.8 interest on my 2001 BMW. Okay, I'm done. Y'all, she said she's drunk today. Okay, my husband over here talking about Suge Knight gonna tell Diddy when he go to jail, welcome to death row. I said, y'all, if you think about it, all of these people that's behind that they said that Diddy was allegedly behind their deaths. Okay, probably tormenting him in that jail cell. Biggie, okay, Craig Mack, Tupac, baby. Okay, Denise is hilarious. And my husband over here talking about Diddy gonna be welcome to Death Row with Suge Knight. I'm like, both of them in my ear. I had tuned out the last minute of what this lady was saying. Wait, Shelly said. Shelly say, Kay, I'm going to Thailand. Y'all are one of, right now, y'all are the class that I just be like, okay, I give up. Y'all just go on the color. It's free time. We done tuned out the lady. Oh my goodness, the ghost of Diddy. Hey, okay, Shelly. That man, baby Biggie mama, Miss Wallace, okay, all of them speaking to him. That's why he turning gray. Okay, then you got Mace laughing somewhere. You got all these people who he was allegedly involved. Kim Porter, okay, baby. Southern Belle said, tell your husband that's funny. I can't tell you the last word he said, but welcome to Death Row. Y'all probably can put it together. Oh my goodness. I want you, Shelly. Lorraine said Suge Knight is going to welcome him to Death Row while they're listening to Juvenile. Back that A. Y'all silly. Hold it. Y'all, my stomach is hurting over here from laughing. Latae said I'm coloring the baseboard. Oh my God. I am done. Oh my goodness. Hi, Real Talk with Pratt. Welcome. He said, I don't know, open book. I heard Diddy got people in jail fighting over who's going to make his bed for the day. What? You know what? Okay. They probably think, hey, if you get out, like the Lord, when Jesus was on the cross, people were talking to him, hey, when you get out, remember me. Baby, they probably think Diddy gonna get out. Hey, when you get out, remember me, send some money to my book. Send some money to my books. What you need right now? I'll fix your bed. You need me to bring you your food? Okay. I clean up your cell. Oh my God. You clip your toenails. Oh, Real Talk with Pratt. Yesterday, I had a live and I played your video at the beginning of it. The one with the 3 men, one woman, I think it was called One Lady or something like that. But when I tell you that went with the whole live, it laid out how that one woman, okay, had these 3 men and this similar story. So you did. When I tell you fire, that was awesome. And I did drop your link as well. Okay. Whoo, y'all. I'm trying to get it together. Kay said, Shelly, I'm thinking that's a good stop on the forever home destination. Okay. Whoo. Jay said, just imagine all the other people should wait. Okay. This open case gonna pull all their butts out. Okay. I'm telling you, Brittany, they got me tickled over here. He going to be reminded every day having flashbacks. Exactly. Yeah, the chat is lit. Okay. Denise said J-Lo still a hoe. She said J-Lo still a hoe. Oh my gosh. Whew, I am tickled. Lorraine said Diddy had his cellmate scrambling and scraping for it. But let me see. Oh my goodness. Shout out to Felicia. Thank you, Felicia, for the super sticker and for being a sponsor for today's show. Because, baby, it's a lit one. Okay. You are so welcome, Real Talk. Any support I can give you, thank you for what you're doing and allowing me to even play it on my channel. But I do like for them to go over and check out your videos on their own. So that's why, like, let's share his link too. But that video was popping. It was fire for real. Yes. Yeah, they cutting up. Let's get through this last little minute, I think, because, baby, y'all weren't paying attention. Okay. Hey, Angel. She said, open girl, your laugh gives me life, girl. I'm telling you, Angel, they got my stomach hurting over here from laughing. The stomach muscles, they say you lose weight. Okay, so y'all keep me laughing and help me lose some weight for the summer. Oh my God.
This possible wow factor or this celebrity factor by seeing Diddy inside the courtroom. Nothing that I could tell from being inside there, but who knows, maybe inside their minds, they were thinking something completely different. But again, as far as what I could tell, I feel like a lot of jurors were more kind of worried about the time length of this trial as opposed to who the superstar defendant is.
Elizabeth Milner, great reporting as always on what is sure to be a memorable case. It is one of the most significant, memorable criminal trials that we have covered here on Law and Crime. And thank you so much for being our eyes and our ears in that courtroom, because unfortunately we don't have cameras, and I could do a whole sidebar episode on how much I hate that. But thank you so much. Great reporting. And I know it's been raining today, so I'm happy you're able to stay dry. But Elizabeth Milner, thank you again. And that's all we have for you right now here on Sidebar.
Oh my gosh, wait a minute. Denise, girl, you are so right. Now, you ain't drunk with that statement, okay? She said Jay-Z still thinks King Kong ain't got nothing on me. And you know what? You are so right. See, he quiet. He really quiet. He thinking, oh, because he done got some of these cases shut down and all of that. Yeah, he think nobody can do nothing to him as well. Okay, but Diddy thought the same thing. Okay, how LeBron look at the drunk? Yeah, they said Diddy is great. He might have been trying to hide it, but or even didn't stress him out until all his hair is great. Okay, yeah, we can't wait because we need to see him too. He been doing some dirt. Laughter ain't helped me lose not a one. I must not be doing it right. Okay. Y'all, y'all got me so tickled. That is funny. And y'all know Meek Mill gonna be crying. Yes, just wait. I truly believe so much is going to come out in this trial. I do too, Jay. And we're gonna be here for it. Okay, because I'm definitely following it. Felicia said exactly. I want to see. We deserve it. He's made a lot of money off of many of us. Hell, we paid for his legal team. Okay. LaRon said everything about to come out about everybody. Yes. Denise said Jay better be quiet. It's about to go down. And that's why they have been quiet. A lot of his celebrity friends, y'all, have not said anything. It is quiet. Nobody's saying free Diddy. Diddy didn't do it. No, they saying Diddy did it. And 50 Cent gonna throw a party. Okay. 50 Cent, he been trolling that man for the longest. He gonna probably throw one of the largest parties ever. Southern Belle said, every step you make, every breath you take, they gonna be watching you. Okay. Who is been quiet? City. Lorraine said, I wonder if they will have Meek Mill, Jay-Z, Stevie, Jay. Oh, where's Stevie J at? Usher, Justin Bieber, and TD Jakes underwear up on the evidence board in the courtroom. Not on the courtroom evidence board. Oh my God. Shelly said Meek definitely upset our city. Okay. Yeah, because he's gonna be crying like a baby. His man gonna be gone. I think they're gonna throw the book at him. I do too, real talk. Okay, they're gonna use him as another example. Like seriously. And those other celebrities, they gonna start thinking about this thing. Like, oh my goodness, and let me tell you, if Diddy goes down, he already said that in that phone call. He is going to start talking. Okay, he's gonna start talking. I can already tell you he's gonna start snitching, and he might snitch to get a little less time. So they are scared. He don't look like he's going down by himself. I doubt that. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yep. I think he gonna start snitching. LaRon said the judge ain't gonna bang the gavel. He gonna point and say, "Take that, take that." Okay. Okay, Denise said, "I'm flat." Oh my God, Meek Mill. Oh, see. Brittany say, do y'all think that Usher will come forward telling his story? No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I wish he would, but she said, please, no draws. Everybody going down. Damon Dash, okay. Where Damon Dash at? See, all these people quiet, all his little crew, okay. But you know what? If he was behind some of this stuff, like his Jaguar Wright and his former security guard, and I know some stuff Jaguar Wright hey, they finding out some of that stuff not true. But if it's true and his former bodyguard has talked about it's true, and now that we'll get to hear something from Albie Shore, he needs to pay the price for some of that stuff, y'all, for that stuff. If he was behind any of those unalivings. Okay? One way or the other, sir. Him and R. Kelly are gonna try to make an escape plan singing I Think I Could Fly and Escape. Okay. Oh, he is Southern Belle. He will. And that's why they're scared. He's gonna sing. Lorraine said, I believe Diddy's gonna pull a Nino Brown from New Jack City. If I go down, everybody going down. I know that's right. Because he seems like that type. He seems like that type. He will. He gonna sing like a canary. And I'm here for it. Let's hear all these up. Go on and tell on Jay-Z first, since he thinks he's untouchable. Go on ahead. He thinks he's untouchable too. No, who got his back? Who? Oh, I don't know about that. Who? Jay-Z? Yeah. Oh. Kay said Usher is too much of a coward to acknowledge the extent of crap he did publicly. may he do it in therapy, but I doubt it would be publicly admitted. Right, Kay? I don't see Usher talking about that. No. And his mom, I do think because of that situation that went on, it strained him and his mom's relationship. Y'all got me over here. I'm about to choke. Let me drink some water. Rick Ross too. Oh yeah, because Rick Ross is close to P. Diddy. Shelly said Usher gonna let everybody else tell he don't want no part. Exactly. Yeah, he gonna continue to do his little feeding strawberries to the women over in Las Vegas.
You came up to his house one time to promote some detergent for
who?
Diddy.
Oh, Diddy? Oh, over to Rick Ross.
Ross's house to promote some car wash detergent.
Oh yeah, I did see that. Yeah, they were hugging all on each other on one video and stuff. Yeah, it's gonna be, y'all. I believe it's going to be so much that comes out during this trial, and we here for it. We're gonna tune into it. Okay, so I'm gonna keep y'all updated. I gotta go run an errand. Oh yeah, I believe that too, Shelly. Yeah, I believe that too. And she was wrong because they said that she allegedly settled. Okay, she could have sued because allegedly Usher had to go to jail. I'm not jail, to the hospital for a situation that took place with his behind while he was at camp. Okay, so she knew what had happened with her son, but she ended up, and you gonna leave us? Ooh, is it cherries or strawberries? Well, I thought I saw one video. I thought it was a strawberry. Well, that lady husband wants to divorce her because she up there eating strawberries. Is it? I don't know. It might be cherries, but one of them baby was about to get her a divorce. Okay, kissing, looked like she about to kiss Usher in the mouth and all that. That man said she don't do all that with me in public. Okay, Usher said they can't lock him up because he had, Lorraine, he didn't want to talk about none of that. Not Jay, I love him, but if he took part, I can find him guilty too. I think he did, Southern Belle. He got some stuff. Like seriously, him and Beyonce, and, allegedly. Shine? Yeah, Shine too. Yeah, he was telling Shine. He been telling though. He got deported. Yes, but he also been kind of laying some stuff out and trying to tell on P. Diddy. All right, y'all. Well, it's a little lightning here. I'm definitely, thank you, Denise. Let me do my thanks. Also, let me go back to my thank you. I would like to give thanks to my sponsors on today. First of all, thank you, Jay, for gifting 5 memberships. And also, thank you, Tony, and Felicia for being sponsors for today's live. Okay, welcome to Death Row. Okay, I'm going to remember that. Baby Suge probably, he wish he was tuned in. He probably keeping up with all the news so he can keep up with the deets. Mace, Suge Knight, all of them. Albie, Sure, they Big Rob, all of them watching. They wait. Everybody's scared. Jay-Z scared. Justin Bieber, now he watching. He probably kind of want some kind of revenge too. He's like get the same now. Who? Justin Bieber. Oh yeah, he been. Yeah, I think it's for real. I think he really went through something with Diddy, and he probably in his own way wants some type of I would call it revenge. I don't know, but I'm trying to think of another word for it. Denise said, tell your husband thanks for his input and chilling with us. Good to hear for real men at times. God bless you both. You heard what she said? Thank you so much. Oh, my son crying because it's thundering, y'all. Oh, but thank you so much, Denise. I appreciate that. Shout out to Southern Belle for the super sticker and for being a sponsor for today's live. Thank you so much. God bless you. Yeah, the list's going to be too long. Okay, but we gonna be here for it. It's not gonna surprise us. Watch. Some stuff may surprise us, but some stuff will not. Okay. I love y'all so much. Thank you for joining. Make sure you hit that like button. Also subscribe. And don't forget to hit the bell because you never know when I'm going to go live. Thank you and have a blessed day. Bye-bye.